All right, here we are. Hey, everybody. Welcome to session 8. We are wrapping up our leadership mastermind with a session that I like to call Be More Leader. And so what we have as an opportunity for many out there is that if you have anything that you have questions on, some systems or some processes that you've built through the other 7 sessions that you want to talk about, session 8 is that day. So feel free to reach out through our email addresses we'll show in just a moment. Feel free to throw some questions into the chat. Feel free to throw some questions into the comment sections wherever you might be watching this video, and we will help you to build out your system and process so that way you can understand you want to grow your company, how it is that you want to grow yourself as a leader. In the meantime, what I'd like to do is, first off, obviously show my information. This is my email address. If you have any questions, reach out. That is my personal cell. You can reach out on that as well. Please let me know where you got my phone number from, so that way I don't just think you're some kind of spam. But anyway, definitely reach out. I'm one of the co-owners of Cyberbacker Maryland, our Cyberbacker franchise here that services Maryland, Delaware, and DC. I'm also a public speaker, a trainer, and a business coach for executives. And most of the time we talk about, guess what? Building teams and leadership. So if you're looking to grow your business with virtual services or grow your business through conversations of overcoming obstacles, please reach out and let me know. In the meantime, I've got somebody very special here with me today. Irene, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Jeff. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Irene. I'm part of the career team here in Cyberbacker, and I'm the career backer assigned to Maryland franchise. So as the career backer, what I'm doing is I'm helping to find right talents and partner them with clients who share the same values.
Yeah,
That's it. Thank you.
I love that. And I love how you said partnering them with clients who share the same values. We're going to get a little bit more into that in a bit here, Irene. So thank you so much for being our special guest today, because I know that we're going to have a lot to talk about. So just in the sense of a recap, I wanted to run down what we've done in the last few sessions, and wanted to give, again, just everybody an opportunity to think about what it is that they're going to be doing in these areas inside of your business. If you have any questions, we're going to be posting all of these replays on YouTube, and you can go watch them on YouTube and start to work through these processes inside of your own business. So we really started this out with defining your role as a leader, right? What kind of leader do I want to be to my people? Taking a quick look all the way into the future, what it is that they want, what we want them to say about us, how it is that we want to be received, and, are we getting in there? Are we doing the work? What kind of values, to Irene's point, are we driving inside of our business? Once we've determined the type of leader that we want to be, hands off, whatever it might look like, we need to build an organization that goes along with that and helps to match with our strengths, right? And our weaknesses. And so we need to draw up an organization chart. How do we want our business to look 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? What is our big vision for our business? And who do we need inside of the business to make it look like that? And then as we reverse it all the way back down to right now and this year, who do we need to hire this year in order to accomplish our goals? Once we know who we need to hire, we need to write out that job description. We need to start identifying and figuring out what a unicorn looks like, how it is that we're going to interview them, what questions we need to ask, what jobs they're going to be doing for us, which is really what Shara on our team helps you to figure out. List out the tasks that you have on your plate, which ones do you need to take off of your plate, and who can we help you find to assign those tasks to in order to give you the time that you need to grow the other aspects of your business and take the stuff off your plate that isn't really serving you specifically, that maybe isn't bringing you the most energy. Now we got to hire those people, hire them, train them. How do we welcome them? How do we get them onto the team? And then how do we communicate with them? What are we doing from a communication standpoint? How often are we talking to them? How are we talking to them? What ways are we making communication accessible? And what ways do we want to make sure that they're getting the crystal clear communication to be successful inside of our business? Once we've determined how it is that we're going to talk to them, we know that we can start holding them accountable to that work, right? We can start letting them know, hey, listen, we've had these conversations. You need to be accountable for the work that it is that you're doing. And those that really stand above the crowd and do a great job, we're going to help nurture them into becoming business leaders for us inside of our company, because we've already drawn out that org chart. We already know where our future leaders are going to be inside of our organizational system. Okay, so that's the quick rundown. I know, I mean, I might have run a little bit out of breath there. So inside of that quick rundown, what I really want to talk about today is what challenges are you facing? So again, if you've been building systems and processes inside of these areas based off of some of the models that we've shown you inside of the other sessions, what challenges are you facing? And again, now that we know what challenges we're facing and what it is that we're trying to build, how can we be more of a leader inside of our companies? So Irene, this is where it comes to you, right? It's like, I know we have businesses that we are partnered with that have run into challenges in several of these areas in their business. I'm not going to call anybody out on name, right? We've had a lot of one-on-one conversations. I've done some coaching sessions with our virtual service clients through Cyberbackers, because I want to make sure that they succeed. That's really why we're here, is they succeed and then we succeed, right? Like if our clients' businesses aren't succeeding, we're not succeeding either, because that's what we're here for, right? We're here to help them succeed. And so I know that we encounter a lot of these problems and run into a lot of these issues. And Irene, this is the crazy thing. So this is gonna sound a little funny. And oddly enough, a lot of times when businesses start to struggle, when they start to run into obstacles cause what? They cause what? What happens when you run into an obstacle yourself?
Sometimes if I really don't know what to do, I panic,
Yeah, panic,
right? So
frustration. Keep going.
yeah.
So what do
So
you do
it
when you
gets me
panic?
frustrated. When you panic, sometimes you cannot think of what you should do, right? You cannot really think straight. So when I panic, I calm myself first so that I can think what should I do so that, I can do the right thing. I can make a decision.
Yeah, so a lot of times when you're panicking, you need to take a pause, relax, calm down, take a breath, right? Think about what's happening. That's one of the cool things about being humans. Viktor Frankl talks about that in a book of his. Stephen Covey talks about that in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And as we are looking at what it is that we want to accomplish, we're allowed to take a pause and use that pause to think about it and make a decision, right? And often, again, first we panic. And if I'm a new leader in a company and I haven't hired people for a very long time, a lot of times as I'm hiring somebody the first time, I'm hiring somebody for what reason? Why do you think it is that I hired somebody to begin with?
Most of the clients that we have here, they are hiring somebody for that someone to help them when it comes to the task that they are having with their business.
And that usually means that I have too many things to do already. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. And if I already have too many things to do, and now I hire somebody new, do you think at first I have more things to do or less things to do?
For me, in the beginning, you should teach the one that you're hiring, because you would agree with me, Jeff, that every business is unique. You cannot, plug and play someone that you hire. So you really need to teach them. So that's going to be an additional task. But, for me, it's an investment, because in the long run, that specific person that you hired can, help you as soon as, that person already learn the business specifics.
Yeah, and you're right, though, right? Like when I first hire somebody, I think a lot of new leaders, when they first hire somebody, their first thought is, "Oh, I can't wait to hire somebody. It's going to be such a relief." And then they hire somebody and they realize, "Oh my God, I've got more work than ever." Like, OMG, I have never had to do so much work in my life. And that's usually because of 2 reasons. The first reason is what you said, that's training. Is they realize I have to help train this person. Well, I picked a Cyberbacker because Cyberbacker says they provide training, and we do, right? We can provide specific task training, and every business, as you said, is going to be a little bit different. Everybody's got their own way of doing things, their own database, their own way of managing their database, their own type of script calls. Like Shara is the person that does a lot of our calls for us, and there is national script call practice every single day. And she still has script practice calls within our team because our market has its own script, right? There's going to be certain things that your clients need to hear, you and your business, that isn't going to be applicable all across the nation for every single company out there, right? So we can teach people how to use a CRM and how to do updates and how to appropriately call and how to build a great marketing drip campaign, all that other stuff. And you still need to plug in your own ingredients. So first thing is they realize, hey, I've got so much more work to do than I realized I was going to have to do with a new hire, especially a new hire that's filling a position I've never filled before. And the second thing that they usually find out very quickly is, oh man, I don't actually have systems and processes to do this. So I've got somebody, I was just doing it like on the fly before, by the seat of my pants. Like I just kind of knew what to do, but I've got no way to teach somebody how to do it. I don't have anything written down to hand to them to help them learn how to do it when I'm not helping. So now not only am I doing the job I was already doing, but now I have to teach somebody how to do the job that I was already doing. And at first, I might feel really overwhelmed and panicked because I've got so much more work to do when first hiring a new employee. Have you ever encountered that? Like with any of our clients?
Yes, mostly.
Mostly.
Most of them, yes, most of them experiencing that kind of situation.
Yeah, because a lot of people are coming to us with their first hires, or at least a first virtual services hire. And
That's right.
And they realize very quickly that while it might be the same as hiring somebody else in person, it feels different, and it forces them to go a little bit more virtual, right? If they weren't already doing Zoom meetings for their team meetings, now they might have Zoom turned on in the room. If they were already doing Zoom, it's just one more person to fit into the call, right? Check-ins and stand-up meetings in the morning might feel a little bit different because one person will be virtual, etc. Perfect. It will feel different, and a lot of our clients have faced that. So now we're panicked, Irene. We're panicked. We've got feeling still overwhelmed. I've hired a cyberbacker or any virtual service or any new team member, but I've hired this new team member. I'm feeling even more overwhelmed than I was feeling before. So now what happens? What have you encountered? Because you're the person on our team that helps our clients find the right talent and helps get them into the role and get them into the training and get all that other kind of stuff started, right? And then if they feel like later they've messed up, they usually reach out to you, right?
Yes, that's right.
So what
So
what do they usually call you and say? Not just our client. Well, I mean, I guess they're all our clients, but keep going. Yeah, what do they usually call and say? No names.
okay. So what they usually, shared with us or with me, the first challenge that they're encountering is the cyberbacker don't know what to do their first day, something like that, or they don't know what are the tasks that they should, ask their cyberbacker to do on their first day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So mostly those kind of things they usually shared on the first months or weeks of their cyberbacker starting.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell them to do. I don't have 20 hours worth of work for them. I don't have 40 hours worth of work for them. I don't have the time to teach them how to do 40 hours worth of work. I just want them to figure out what they want to do on their own. Right. And again, what makes this really interesting for me is that's exactly what happens when you hire somebody in person. So you hire somebody in person and they come in and they start working in the office, unless you're somebody that's used to just sitting there at the office for 40 hours a week. And most of us aren't just sitting in an office for 40 hours a week with our assistant right next to us. But unless you are that person, it feels the same way. And what gets really interesting about that is whether it's somebody that's virtual or somebody that's sitting in an office and you're not standing there, start to feel a little out of control and a little frustrated because you're letting go of work that you had been doing and kind of letting go of the reins a little bit, and somebody else is doing it. Irene, how long have you been doing this job?
I'm with Cyberbacker for almost 3 years now.
Okay, 3 years. And in 3 years, have you ever made a mistake?
of course.
Now, did you make more mistakes in the beginning, or do you make more mistakes now?
More mistakes in the beginning, because when I started working as a career backer, I really don't have any experience in hiring a person or how to qualify specific candidates for a specific role. So a lot of mistakes that I've done in the past. Still, even now, I still commit mistakes, but I do make sure that with those mistakes, I learn something from it.
Yeah, for sure. And so when you made the mistakes in the beginning, how did you fix them? Did you know how to fix them right away?
Not all of them. So what I
Okay.
usually do is to reach out to that specific person that's training me,
Okay.
what needs to be done, or I usually ask feedback, especially when I'm facilitating the rapid fire interview,
Yeah.
because I really want to make sure that I'm getting the feedback every interview, so that the next interview I can do much better.
Yeah, 100%. And so you reached out to your trainer to help give you feedback. If you ran into an issue or a problem, you would ask for help in getting over that obstacle, right?
Yes, that's right. And before I usually reach out to that trainer, I usually check the things that we've discussed during the training period before I do the interview or the pre-qualification process. I usually review my notes, but sometimes um experience is the best teacher.
Yeah, yeah, for
So
sure. I was going to ask
I
you that
really
next.
learned from those mistakes and the experience that I had when facilitating interview and pre-qualifying candidates for our clients.
Yeah, love that, right? Because that's the next question, which is 3 years later, do you make as many mistakes? We kind of already answered that one, but
Not that much, but I still do commit mistakes.
sure. And when you
Uh,
make a mistake today, how different does it feel than the mistakes that you made when you were first starting?
I don't easily get rattled when I get mistakes nowadays. So what I'm doing right now is I'm thinking, what should I do to make it right? Or what are the things that needs to be done so that we can help the clients or the cyberbackers, or the things that I can do to make that mistake right.
Yeah, yeah. So most of the time, you're out there looking for your own solutions at this point because you're what we
That's right.
call competent in the role, right? You're 3 years in. You've reached a state of what we call conscious competence, which means you understand that you know how to do the job, and you know how to find the answers. You know how to be resourceful in the job. If I'm brand new, and especially with a company that hasn't ever hired this specific position before, what do you think the likelihood is that all the resources are right there waiting for me to get all the answers that I need?
For me, that's you know better if there will be an existing procedure or systems in
Yeah.
place,
And most
because
of the time there isn't going to be, though, right? And we're writing them as we go.
yes, that's right, because you will know the step by step process. You know how to do it in this kind of stage or whatnot, so at least you know what's the thing that you should do,
Yes,
because
right.
there's all the things that you need are there. There already is a place, a procedure that you can follow.
Yeah, and inside the cyberbacker, they can definitely go to other cyberbackers that have similar roles, figure out what
That's
they're
right.
doing, which builds for a great infrastructure, which is awesome. And that's not meant to be a little cyberbacker plug, but we'll take it while we can. Uh, and if I was hiring somebody for a role outside of cyberbacker and even inside of cyberbacker, something that's really important. I mean, resources exist. I mean, without cyberbacker, you've got Google, but nobody to tell you how to make Google work. Inside of cyberbacker, we've got the other 4,000 cyberbackers that act as a family and share information back and forth with each other as far as how to do the job well. And if I was a brand new hire, when I'm first hired into a job, I enter into a new phase of learning. And that new phase of learning is called unconscious incompetence. In other words, I come into the job and I don't know what I don't know. So I can't even learn to ask the right questions at first, right? Because until I've been doing the job, I won't even realize if I'm missing something at first, right? I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you in any career or in any job. I remember having a position at one point in time that after a few weeks, somebody came up to me and they're like, Jeff, we don't understand why you haven't been filling in this data at the end of the night. I was like, filling in what data at the end of the night? Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you're supposed to put these numbers into this spreadsheet every single night. So that way we can, do a good par calibration as we're going forward with our ordering. And you're not tracking this at all. And there's no way to go back and get the information because it's stuff that you've been throwing away each night. And I was like, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Nobody ever told me. That's unconscious incompetence, right? I didn't know what I didn't know. Now somebody took me into consciously incompetent. So now I'm aware of what I wasn't doing, right? Like I wasn't doing it. I was still kind of a dummy on it. I needed to learn the process and the system, but at least now I was aware that I was silly. I was a dummy. And nobody had trained me right on that, or if they had, I missed it because a lot of times things get crammed into our heads in training. It's a good thing in training to remind your people, hey, we're going to tell you a ton of information. If you have any questions, please let us know. And if you have any questions later, please come to us right away. You're allowed to make mistakes and you're allowed to come to us with questions. And I didn't even know I was making a mistake. So I had no idea I even needed to go to somebody and ask a question. I just thought I was cleaning up at the end of the night. And so, boom, here we are. I'm now consciously incompetent, which is good. Because if I'm consciously incompetent, what do you think that means I can try to be, Irene? I can start working to what?
You can already start working with the things that, you don't know, since
That's
they
right.
already mentioned it to you.
Yeah, now I can start doing the things I don't know. And the more I do the things that I don't know how to do, the more I what?
So the more competent you are with your work.
There we go, 100%, right? The more competent I become with my work. And then I can start being like you. I can start becoming consciously competent in my role, right? Because now I know what I need to do. I've been doing it enough that I start to get good at it. And I'm able to start being resourceful and get my own answers and figure the things out in case something goes wrong, if things go wacky. Like if, that spreadsheet I needed to fill in, I go in 1 week to fill it in and it's not even there. I've done it so many times, I can still track the information until we get a more recent copy of the spreadsheet in place, right? Like, and with that, being consciously competent, I can start to make my own decisions. I can start to move forward with confidence in my competency. It's what we call the confidence-competence loop. I'm confident I can do it, so I go do it. The more I do it, the more competent I become. The more competent I become, the more confidence I have. And over, I continue to get better and stronger and more proud of my job. Have you ever felt that way?
Yes.
Great. Good. So we're in the same place. Now, there's one final level of this learning process. And I think you're here too, by the way. And that's unconsciously competent. What do you think that means when you're unconsciously competent?
I think you're not aware of the task that you need to do, but you know how to do it if they will be just, asking you to do it.
And that's close. It goes one step further. It's when you get so good at the job that it just becomes second nature. Like you're so good at it that it's almost hard to stop and explain to somebody how to do it. Kind of like when I'm a leader hiring for somebody in their first role, right? Like I've just done it so many times. I've never bothered to break down the system and the process for it. And it's just so easy for me to do that it's become a habit. It's like walking into the room and turning on a light switch because the room is dark. You don't even have to think about reaching for the light switch. You just do, and you flick it on, right? It's like pulling out your phone and opening up Facebook. It's just so easy, right? Like it just happens the moment I unlock my phone. And like it's become a habit inside of our work process. We've gotten so good at it, we're unconsciously competent. And interestingly enough, this is where the cycle starts to repeat itself, because we begin to grow in that place, so much so that we start to recognize again the things that we don't know. At which point we're unconsciously competent and we move up to unconsciously incompetent at something. There's something that we haven't been able to do, and we're able to break through that ceiling when we become again consciously incompetent at a new level of learning for us. That's what I'm asking everybody here to do, right? We're talking about be a better leader, be more leader. How do you become a better leader inside of your work, inside of your business, with your people, with your hiring? How do we become better leaders? How do you help your people move from unconscious incompetent through the struggles of learning to become consciously competent, which, by the way, Irene, how many times do you think you have to tell somebody how to do something before they start to understand it?
It really depends on the person. Sometimes 2 to 3 times,
Yeah,
because they tend to forget it sometimes.
on average, I was always taught the tell, show, do, review method. Okay, let's tell somebody how to do it, show them how to do it with them, and then review it with them afterwards. So even that way, like that's 3 or 4 times, right? Science has shown it's actually at least 7 on average for most people to even begin to understand how to do a task. 7 times. And most of the time in jobs, we show them once, twice, 3 times a lady, right? And we don't actually ever take the time to figure out thorough understanding side of that, at which point they always stay incompetent. Video helps with that. We went over that on another session. If we can create videos and get them to write down the system and process while we're doing it, they can go back to the system and process and go back to the video to learn later, instead of bothering you all 7 times and then 7 times 70 for the next 2 to 3 months that they work. As they have questions, they've got something to go back to, right? So we know that it's going to take somebody at least 7 times to learn how to do it. And again, when they first learn it, are they competent at it?
Not
Not usually. Right?
not usually.
Right.
Yes.
Right. It takes some time. Do you know how long it takes for somebody to be competent in the role? Fully competent?
I don't have any idea, Jeff.
Over a year.
Oh.
I know. Sounds crazy, right? Like when we think back to the jobs that we started in, that starts to make sense. Like, I felt like I was really good at a lot of the jobs that I did, but inside of that first year, I was learning a lot all the time, right? And then usually by the time I got to the place where I didn't feel like I was learning much more, I moved on to another position in the company. Like I got promoted, or I moved from a mentee position into a mentor position. Like I became a trainer, I became an assistant manager, I became the manager, whatever the case may be, right? I'm now training somebody else. And so like bit by bit, we're moving up and we're becoming more skilled and more valued in the roles that we're doing, but we're also taking on a new role. So a lot of times, most of us are always moving towards competence and never fully competent in many ways, right? Like we've always got something, because again, it's the cycle. Like we've always got something that we're working to grow. So that's scary and exciting at the same time, right? It's exciting because we can know that the people that we hire today, if we work with them and give them the systems and processes to grow, they're going to become competent. And if we keep nurturing them and helping them grow, they'll probably become those trainers and managers inside of our company to grow the new people that we're bringing on eventually, right? But why is it scary?
For me, it's scary because I think are scared about the mistakes and the learning curve
Yeah.
of the person that they'll be training.
Yeah, and on both sides, right? So you're scared about making mistakes. They're scared about the mistakes you might make and how that's going to reflect on the company, right? And Irene, have I ever made a mistake inside of Cyberbacker working with you? Better answer this
None
right.
of I can think of.
Yes, that's what I was hoping to hear. No, I'm just kidding. Of course I have, right? Either I didn't enter some information in accurately. I know maybe I didn't give a recap as quickly as possible. Maybe I committed to something and didn't put it on my calendar and missed the timeline. Whatever the case may be. Yes, I've made a mistake. I make mistakes every single day. And the trick to making a mistake is to learn from it and move forward, which is what you said in the beginning, right? Like, how do we learn from the mistakes that we're making and how do we move forward? Are we consciously attempting to improve and become more competent inside of our role? And I think that's the big test for all of us inside of leaders. Are we hiring people who have a desire to become better in the position that they're working, learn more, do more and be more inside of their role, right? And if I can find that person as a leader to be on my team, what do you think that helps me do as a leader?
If you will be able to, hire someone that wants to grow in the position that they are with, I think it's gonna be a win-win for the both of you, since you know that specific person is growing at the same time it is helping your business.
Yeah, 100%. They're growing and they're growing inside of my business. And so it's helping my business. It's also helping me. I'm becoming a better leader because now I'm leading somebody who might eventually be a leader. Yeah. There's a practice in neurolinguistic programming, NLP, and it's a defrag process, right? It's called parts integration. And it's supposed to be in yourself, but I find it works really well with conflict resolution as well, because a lot of times we can sit back and think about a person that we're having conflict with, and when we can elevate that thought to a high enough level, we can realize that we're really kind of on the same side, right? And so if I, the leader, am having a conflict with one of my employees, but I know that I hired the right person, right? Somebody that cares about the job, somebody that wants to do a good job, and somebody that wants to grow. If I know that they want to grow and I want them to grow, then we're really kind of on the same page, right? Just because they want to do social media this way and I want to do social media this way, or they want to create the spreadsheet this way and I want to create the spreadsheet this way, right? Like just because we're on opposite sides of this take, the fact is that we want the company to succeed and we want our people to grow. Like that's a mutual place that we can come to an understanding on. And so in that mutual place of understanding, you know, from our far away place inside of an argument and our frustrations with each other, I'm mad at my boss. They won't give me the freedom to do what I want to do. I'm mad at my employee. They just keep taking my stuff and breaking it. Right? Like from those two different places, as we work our way up to I want our company to grow, we realize we're on the same page. We just want our company to grow. We just disagree on how to do it. And so what is fun and interesting to me about that is that means that most of the time, the people that are working for us, if we just give them the freedom to go out and make their mistakes, which is what we were just talking about, right? Go out and make some mistakes, they can learn from those mistakes, and either we will agree with them because they went out and did it their way and their way worked, and now we're being successful, or they'll agree with us because they went out and did it their way and their way didn't work, and they realize, oh, I should have done what Irene suggested to begin with, because if I had done what Irene suggested, I would have saved myself some time. But in reality, I hired somebody to do a job, and I can tell somebody all I want how to do the job, and if I don't give them a little bit of freedom to make some mistakes and grow, what do you think they're going to do?
For me, that specific person that you hired will be hesitant to do something because you know that person will be scared to make a mistake, and he or she might think that his or her boss will be angry because of that mistake. So
Yeah,
he's not growing, and I think the cyberbacker will, or the person will not that happy doing the task because the boss will not hear her side or his side when it comes to doing the task, or he cannot do the task on his own.
yeah. So they're not given the freedom to make those mistakes, then they're not growing, right? They're frustrated because, again, we're both frustrated here. So if they're not given the freedom to move up, they're frustrated and we're frustrated. And if I'm frustrated and they're frustrated, then more than likely, that's not a very winning combination inside of our business. And if that's not a winning combination in our business, then one or the other of us is going to make a decision, leave. either I'm breaking up with the employee or the employee's breaking up with me because we didn't put you in a position to be allowed to make mistakes and grow. And what's even more interesting about that is if I'm not putting my employee in a position to grow, because again, up here is where the company's growing and we're growing together. So if my employee's not in a position to grow, then what does that mean about me? I'm also not what?
Not growing at the same time.
I'm also not growing. Huh. Interesting. So by not giving them the room to grow, I'm also not giving myself the room to grow, right? Because as they get better and more challenging, they're pushing me to learn more and be more and train more and lead more and have good coaching conversations each week, right? And again, as we're both growing together, we find out that the company grows as well. And that's what Be More Leader is all about, right? That's literally why I call it this. It's one of my key phrases. I've got, be more every day, be more intentional, be more, whatever it is. What Be More is all about is finding the thing that you can do inside of your company, inside of yourself, and making sure that you are doing it every single day in order to help yourself and others grow. And so, challenge to everybody out there, again, go through the leadership series, figure out what systems and processes you're missing in order to help your business become more successful through your people, right? Because if our people, we're investing in our people and they're growing, our business will grow. That's what we mean by being successful through your people. We're not pouring into the business as much as we're pouring into our people and watching our business grow because we're supporting our people. And so if we're able to pour in that way, then we can know that our company is going to grow, that we're going to grow, and we're going to feel a lot better and more purposeful doing it. So that's a bit of a wrap up. Reach out to myself, reach out to Irene, reach out to Shara. Let us know if you've got any questions about the systems or processes on the way. Irene, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
For me, if we're gonna hire someone for our company, so let's make sure that we are partnering with someone with same values and vision. And yes, you're right, invest in your people and support them so we can know that our company will go together.
Love that. Thank you so much. And so, real quick, before we get out of here, just want to flash up one more thing for, here we go. We'll just put this on the screen. All right. And so what I'd love you all to do real quick, if you've made it with us this far, hopefully, again, I've been challenging you several times on this call to go back and look at your systems and processes and develop it. But what I really want you to do real quick, because this happens so many times on any of these types of workshops, I want you to identify today what's one area of your business that you will go in and work on today in order to start taking the first steps. Because again, it's moving forward intentionally every single day, one consistent action that will take you towards achieving that impossible dream, right? So what's the thing that you need to do first is identifying yourself as a leader and the purpose that you want to bring to your company as a leader, the vision, the mission, the values, like Irene just said, inside of your company. Is it building out your org chart, figuring out who your next hire should be? Is it writing their job description and figuring out what a unicorn is going to look like for your company? Is it learning how to onboard and train and set expectations correctly earlier in the process? Is it developing a good communication style, having those weekly conversations and holding your people accountable? Is it taking the people that are being successful and starting to work with them and teaching them how to be a leader? Write down what you need to do next to start moving forward with that. And again, finally, if you have any questions, please reach out. Here's my information. We are here to help you be that better leader. Thanks for joining us for these calls. Have a great one.